Hello, guys, and welcome back to the College Football Podcast, where today we are going to be talking about the college football playoffs, what happened in the Penn State-Boise game that happened yesterday, and then today with the Texas-Arizona State game and the Ohio State and Oregon game. We can also talk about some bowl games that have happened that I thought were quite interesting. Let's just get right into it. So we'll start off with Penn State, Boise State. I did not want to talk about last week. Round one games were just blowouts. There wasn't anything to talk about. Notre Dame squashed Indiana. Ohio State squashed Tennessee. We had so forgettable. I don't even remember what the games were. Penn State smashed SMU, and then Texas did what they did to Clemson. Even though the Texas-Clemson game was closer than everything else, it still wasn't a game. But this week we had one game. We've had one game. We still have one game tomorrow because of the whole Louisiana thing that happened in New Orleans. Postponed Georgia, Notre Dame to tomorrow. We start off with the Penn State-Boise State game, and this one was interesting, to say the least. Penn State goes up 2 scores. Their defense wasn't really as big of a factor as they were last time against SMU. Against SMU, it wasn't as much of it, or it was more of a need, I must say. It was more of a need that the Penn State defense needed to be in that game. But in this one, it was like the defense did what they did. Penn State went down the field, scored on offense. Defense did it again. Penn State got Amari Evans, 38 yards, touchdown. Boise State kind of had no offense up until that point, and then Tyler Crow touchdown. Penn State gets a field goal, then Boise scores a touchdown, and that's when it started getting weird because it's like, okay, Boise's not running the ball with the Heisman finalist. He should have won the Heisman. I am going to say that, especially what he did in this game. He looked way better than what, whatever his name is for Colorado. I don't even remember. I don't even know the Heisman winner. But yeah, and then Drew Aller kind of pulled his team away. Nick Singleton scores a late touchdown at the end. Boise State, Ashton Jeanty had 39 rushing yards after the end of the first half. He had 104 at the end of the second. He did a lot better in the second half, for sure. He did. He had a lot of broken tackles. He made some men miss. He had one play where there was like 5 guys that missed tackles on him. So that was huge for Boise State. It showed that they really did have a chance in this game. They looked like they could have done what they needed to, but they just couldn't finish the job. It didn't get done, and life moves on. Penn State will play the winner of whoever wins tomorrow night in Georgia or Notre Dame. I think Penn State really didn't do as well as they could have. They really got to show more resilience. They got to show more force. They did not force Boise State into very pressure situations. They kind of stood back and watched and made sure Boise State didn't really score, but they could get in the red zone. So I think Penn State really needs to learn to punch and to just keep punching until the game's over, rather than punching a lot in the first half and then kind of setting back and then throwing some knockout punches. You kind of just got to keep punching him until he's just done and he gives up. Which they had 2 games to do that. They did that in the first game. This game they kind of didn't really do that because they just didn't do it. The defense wasn't smacking them like they should have. Offense was having miscues and penalties and all that, so They really got to work on that, especially if they're going to play in their next game. So they definitely do have some things to work on. Boise State, if Genty came back, Boise State would almost definitely make the playoff again. They would almost indefinitely maybe win their first game next year, especially with how many starters they have coming back on just the offensive and defensive line. They would have Genty coming back. They would have Maddox coming back. So like Boise State could be a contender next year if they convinced everybody to come back, which I doubt in a million years they'll ever do. So there is that. All right, now we've got earlier today, Texas, Arizona State. Arizona State kept themselves in this game somehow. I don't know how, but they definitely did. Arizona State comes out, kick a field goal, not too much coming out of them. They did drive down the field very slowly the first time, and then Texas comes down, DeAndre Moore touchdown, and then the big punt, Silas Bolden returns for a 75-yard touchdown. So now Texas is up. They're kind of showing dominance here. Bert Auburn kicks a 22-yard field goal, makes it. Now it's 17-3. Texas's offense looks like they're clicking, and they do very good, especially with the block kick towards the end of the first half against Arizona State. They're up 17-3 at half. It's kind of looking like Texas is just going to steamroll Arizona State, and they'll walk out of here scot-free and get out of here. Third quarter comes around, and there was a big fumble in the end zone. Arizona State picks it up, Quinn Ewers picks it up. They tackle him. So instead of a touchdown, it's just a safety. But then Arizona State gets the ball, they kick a field goal, so now it's 17-8. It's kind of like, okay, their defense is doing something, they just need their offense to start kicking in. Texas goes down, scores a touchdown. It's like, okay, their offense has come back, they're going to win this one, it's not going to be close. And then Arizona State, the big 4th and 3 from Cam Scattaboo, and Arizona State kind of shows up, and then Quinn Ewers is probably the biggest mistake I think he's had so far in the playoffs. Not in this season, because he's had some more questionable calls there, but throwing a 50-50 ball on a 2nd and 6 with like 5:40 to go. I didn't like the play call. Apparently, Greg McElroy liked the play call, just wanted it to be shorter, or more of a zip on the ball instead of just lobbing it up there, because then he thought Texas could have caught it. And I do see where he's coming from, but I would have, on a personal level, probably have slowed the pace a little bit and run the ball, try to get some first downs and just get out of there, escape. But nope, interception. They come all the way up the field in a minute and a half. Cam Scattaboo, 2-yard touchdown. Arizona State's tied it. Texas goes down the field, tries to kick a field goal, and they miss a wide right. And then ASU goes 3 and out. Texas gets the ball back. They kick it again, and it's off the left upright. So now Texas is like, we can't kick the ball anymore. We've lost all kicking. So Arizona State gets the ball first. Cam Scattaboo walks it in. Touchdown. Texas, 4th and 13. 28-yard touchdown pass to Matthew Golden to keep him alive. Very next play, 25-yard touchdown to Gunnar Helm. And then Sam Leavitt throws an interception on 3rd and 8. Texas wins 39-31 in double overtime. Texas, being the gutsy team they are, just beat on Arizona State, even though Arizona State kind of beat up on them. This was the game where it was similar to the Penn State Boise game, but just when they leaned on Arizona State, which I'm getting this reference from Josh Pate. All credit goes to him for the word. When Texas leaned on Arizona State took that opportunity and punched back. And that's when Texas got scared. Then they started seeing that they needed to work on offense. They figured it out in overtime. Quinn Ewers, amazing job on 4th and 13 to keep your season alive and to keep your team alive. They found a way to win this game, even though their backs were against the wall. They did a great job. They figured out what they needed to do, how they were going to do it. And Texas is Texas. So they figured it out. They're moving on to play Ohio State in the next round. This is going to be one of the better games that we're going to see, unless Ohio State just becomes the most insane team ever in a playoff run and just scores 50 again. I think Texas has a shot at Ohio State, but with how Ohio State played today, I don't know. I really don't know. So we're going to have to see what happens for that. Arizona State, they're big contenders. I really think if Cam Scatterboot comes back, you've got your freshman redshirt Sam Levitt coming back off of a season of 24 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He's not leaving. I wish he was on my Beavers because we were the ones that got him, not you guys. Cam Scatterboot, I don't think he should leave. That's the thing for me. I don't think he should leave. I think he's got a chance. Oh, he's a senior. Never mind. He kind of has to leave, but unless he got that quarantine COVID thing that basically everybody got. But yeah, this is going to be a scary team to watch, especially if they can get top tier talent over the next few years, which if I look right now, I go to team rankings, I'm going to go to the Big 12 because the Big 12 is apparently still a big conference. Arizona State's number 8 right now in recruiting. TCU's at number 1. That's scary that TCU's number 1 and Arizona State's number 8. They're the 54th overall. They've got 21 signed letters of intent, which is a good sign. Definitely a good sign that they are going in the right direction. Transfer ranked, they're at 47. They have 2 4-stars. One of them being a quarterback. Well, that really helps him out. You already have Sam Levitt. He's already a good quarterback. I don't know why you need another one. Okay. Well, you got a safety from Washington State, tight end from Kentucky. You got Kanye. Oh. Well, there you go. That's what you needed. Kanye Udo. So I think Arizona State's got their Cam Scatterboot look-alike. Okay, he's coming over and he's gonna do good. Kanye Udo was kind of how Army did what Army did this year and kind of rolled over everybody. So they needed him. They needed him bad. And then we have the last one, which I don't even want to talk about this one. Ohio State favored by a point at open, 2.5 by game time. what else do I have to say? Ohio State splatted Oregon. They took the green paint of Oregon and sloshed it all over the field. It was a murder scene. Oregon didn't play. Oregon didn't play till the second half started. Second half, and they kind of started playing. Oregon was at, oh goodness, I don't even know. I think it was like 90 yards before the one drive before, let's see, 9, 2, 26, so that's 37, 50, 55, and -2. They had 53 total yards in the first half without the last touchdown that they got, or the touchdown that they got to end the half. I'm just gonna say that's not how you should play ever. Ohio State splatted them. They scored 34 unanswered before Oregon finally scored 15 unanswered. Ohio State scores another touchdown. Oregon scores another touchdown. They trade punts for the rest of the game, and Oregon runs one play. I don't even know. I don't even know what's happening. Ohio State loses to Michigan. They come back, and it looks like all hope is lost for Ohio State. I had them losing to Tennessee in one of my ESPN brackets, and they squashed them. Fortunately, it was at home, so we were like, okay, Oregon's got a chance. It's a home game technically because it's in the Rose Bowl. It's in California. It's close to Oregon. Ohio State's gonna have to travel a really far way. That did not matter whatsoever. Let me tell you the touchdown plays that happened. 45-yard pass, 42-yard pass, 46-yard field goal, 43-yard pass, 66-yard rush, and an 8-yard rush. This wasn't even a game where it was like, oh, they just beat you up, got down the field, and scored. No. You want to know the amount of plays it took for Ohio State to score. 3 plays. 2 plays, 1 play. The only 2 times that they had to drive down the field were the 2 field goals that were 10 plays and 10 plays. The Travion Henderson touchdown in the third quarter was 6. That means on average 10, 22, 23, 29, 35. On average, they were scoring on 5-play drives. 5-play drives. They were beating Oregon with speed, not with strength. That's how you win a football game right there. Ohio State just outsped Oregon really quickly. It didn't take long. They scored the first 2 touchdowns. I was like, oh, this happens all the time. They'll come back. The field goal happens. I was like, okay, that's not good. And then a 3 and out. And then Will Howard throws a 43-yard touchdown to Jeremiah Smith. And I'm like, okay, it's 24-0. This is getting out of hand. Oregon has an okay drive. They punted away. I'm like, okay, they're getting somewhere. And Travion Henderson 1 play, 66 yards. I was like, this is over. Oregon's not coming back. Even when it was 34-15, I was like, this is still over. Oregon's lost all dignity at this point. They can't even defend themselves at this point. It's so far gone. Which is funny. This score is funny. 41-21. It is exactly 2 points off what happened in the first college football playoff national championship. Ohio State 42, Oregon 20. Which is crazy, but Oregon just failed at all levels. Defensively, offensively, this game was a train wreck for Oregon. This game was the best thing Ohio State could have ever had. I have no more words. This is just astonishing what Ohio State has done the last 2 weeks. 42 and 41 points. You want to even talk? Will Howard. Let's just look at his last 2 games as a football athlete. Last week against Tennessee, 24 of 29, 311, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And he ran for 5 attempts for 37 yards. Today, Will Howard was 17 for 26 for 319, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Oh, let me tell you, 0 sacks. He's been sacked once in the last 5 games. That was against Indiana. This man is what was bad against Michigan, was okay against Indiana, was okay against Northwestern, has now become a superstar against Tennessee and Oregon. But then we also have to take into consideration his wide receiver room of literally Emeka Egbuka. My goodness, I cannot speak, from Washington. Of course. This man just torched Oregon. 5 for 72 in a touchdown. He had 5 for 81 last week. Can't forget about Jeremiah Smith, who had 7 catches for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns, where he had 6 catches for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Ohio State is becoming scarier and scarier by the week. I think they beat Texas. I think they beat Texas big. I don't think this is going to be a fair national championship. Ohio State has brought something that no other team has brought to the playoffs so far. Jim Harbaugh is gone. Nick Saban is gone. The only other person that can beat this team is Kirby Smart. And if Kirby Smart doesn't beat them, that means there's a ring for Ohio State. And that's going to be a big shock from losing to Michigan for the 4th year in a row to national champions. Not even winning a conference championship. They just go to the national championship. So, yep, a bunch of very weird things have happened. Ohio State destroys Oregon. Arizona State almost does it against Texas, and Penn State, for some reason, struggled a little bit, I guess. But, this is going to be a very interesting semifinals game. Georgia plays Notre Dame tomorrow at 1 p.m. on ESPN. I don't know. Notre Dame's favored. It's all because Georgia doesn't have Carson Beck. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. Notre Dame's got a good defense. They've shown they have a good offense. Georgia, their offense is kind of shaky at this point, and I don't know if they have the offense to beat Notre Dame's defense. But Notre Dame hasn't really played anybody. They haven't had to. So I want to see them play against a team that is very difficult to beat. We'll just see what happens. Thank you guys for watching the College Football Podcast. I encourage you to stay tuned for next week. I'll probably make a quick video tomorrow about this Notre Dame-Georgia game, and then we'll move on to previews for next week. And then we will see what happens on January 9th and 10th. As Ohio State will play Texas, and Penn State will play Notre Dame or Georgia. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.